The San Francisco 49ers currently sit at 4-2. And after the loss of Nick Bosa and some subpar play the last few weeks, they have a number of pass rushers on their radar. We're going to talk about it. And for the Dallas Cowboys and their defense, as much scrutiny as they have faced over the last few weeks, Jerry Jones is defending defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down, but you gotta hit the music first.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and I'm holding it down on another daily episode, bringing you the latest around the NFL. This is a place where whoever you're fan for, you can go ahead and join the family for the sake of loving that football talk that myself, and Steve will bring you on every single episode. Now, let's get into the content. We're talking about the San Francisco 49ers. As it currently stands, the San Francisco 49ers, they are currently sitting at 4-2, and they are going through a situation where they have a number of injuries that are on the docket for them. You're talking about Brock Purdy. You're talking about Jennings. You're talking about Brandon Ayuk. You're talking about the loss of Nick Bosa. You're talking about having future Hall of Famer and Trent Williams being in and out of the lineup thus far. And right now, that defense looks like it's completely depleted. This offseason, you've seen the San Francisco 49ers go out there and place a lot of emphasis on the defensive side through the draft and through some of their signings this offseason in hopes of, not necessarily contending for a championship, at least in my evaluation, but still staying relevant enough to where you can win enough football games and hope that you can continue to build this thing out and once again, eventually get back to the big game. Now, according to ESPN's Fowler, San Francisco has been actively searching for a replacement for Bosa, and they are drawing interest, or there has been internal discussions regarding a number of pass rushers that are or could potentially be available for the San Francisco 49ers. Those names include Rashawn Gary of the Green Bay Packers, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb of the Miami Dolphins, Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald of the New York Jets, and Arden Key of the Tennessee Titans. Now, if you ask me, who would I will see? If I'm the San Francisco 49ers, you try to figure out how you can get Rashawn Gary over there in San Francisco. However, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. Me personally, the reason I don't see Rashawn Gary being in the San Francisco 49ers uniform is, one, you just got Micah Parsons. Yes, you paid him. Yes, you might have to consider re-upping on Rashawn Gary, but right now, this season is not lost. And with that defense that you've seen the first 2 weeks, I'll give them the first 2 weeks compared to the last, 2 weeks that they played a game. The defense was pretty damn good, and I wouldn't want to give up on that right now, at least to have a shot at competing for a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So it's good that they have Rashawn Gary on their radar. I just don't necessarily think that it's something that Green Bay will be willing to do as it currently stands. Now, when you talk about Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb out of Miami, and Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald from the Jets, and Arden Key from the Tennessee Titans, I think those are more notable names that you can go after and potentially add to your team. Plus, I don't think it will cost you that much to acquire some of those players. You always have to consider what the capital will look like for a said team. You also have to, and I'm not talking about just draft capital, you're talking about paying guys too. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you wanted to really, really push hard for Rashawn Gary, you're going to have to pay guys. You're going to have to come off the cash, and you're going to have to come off the assets as well. So though the San Francisco 49ers want to go out there and look for other options, I think that the more options, or the more favorable options, I should say, will be looking at Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. I know Bradley Chubb, I believe it was last season or the year prior, suffered a major knee injury that had him out for an entire season. You know what I'm saying? But I think those would be better fits that makes sense right now if you are the San Francisco 49ers. But it's good that they're not trying to stand pat. It's good that they're trying to make a push for this, because if you look at the NFC West, they're right in the thick of things. Right now, you can't even count on the Arizona Cardinals to look like a competent football team on most Sundays. And then when you talk about the Rams, they've had their struggles as well. And the Seattle Seahawks, they look really, really good. So if you're the San Francisco 49ers, you don't want to fall back too much from competing within your own division and giving yourself an opportunity to at least make it to the playoffs. Because we all know when you make it to the playoffs, you give yourself a chance. Because then once in the playoffs, it's a tournament. Best team that day will go on to win, and then it's just 1 week after that. It's a week to week thing after that. It's not having a 17 game slate available to you to drop a couple games and then bounce back and suddenly catch fire. If you are able to make it into the playoffs, if you are able to catch fire after that first win, you give yourself a strong chance of making it to the Super Bowl. Now, when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, I don't have them making the playoffs. I don't have them going to the Super Bowl. Maybe I could be wrong, but just as of right now, after 6 weeks of NFL football play, I don't see the San Francisco 49ers as a Super Bowl contender. Can they etch in and get into the playoffs? Absolutely. But I just don't see it as of right now. That's just me, especially with the injuries constantly piling up. You see the last game that they played. You see Daniel Jones, not necessarily Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, excuse me, not necessarily have a great game, but hey, he performed in some games, and at this point I believe he's 3-1 as a starter for the San Francisco 49ers. So you give him a little love for that, but at the end of the day, now teams have tape on you that they can review for this season. We know that Kyle Shanahan is a hell of a play caller and he's going to get his offense as ready as possible. And I believe Robert Saleh is really, really good for this young defense that is, trying to grow into his image. So I'm not going to completely count them out from a playoff spot, but I am going to completely count out the San Francisco 49ers from making a Super Bowl. I just don't see it happening this year. I think they have a lot more work to do on that defensive side of the ball, and I think they need to make some improvements on the offensive line. That's just my personal opinion. You let me know how you feeling about that down below. Now, let's get into talking about Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. My God, my eye just started itching out of nowhere. But let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys and their atrocious defense. Their atrocious defense. The Dallas Cowboys defense is just so putrid. It's ridiculous. If they simply just had a middle of the pack defense, the Cowboys will be viewed as a threat to at least make the playoffs and potentially win a playoff game. You got that offense, stay out there humming. Dak Prescott is playing at a peak level right now. You seeing George Pickens come alive in the absence of CeeDee Lamb. And once CeeDee Lamb gets back, you want to see how those pass catchers be able to, continue to grow as a unit. The running backs, they've been doing pretty damn well. And we know that Dallas Cowboys, for all the shits that they get throughout an entire season, they know how to build an offensive line, whether they stick with a couple vets or whether they go out and draft to add to a couple positions. The Dallas Cowboys pretty much are one of those teams that will have a good offensive line. The problem is that putrid ass defense. So far this season, through 6 weeks, points allowed for the Dallas Cowboys defense, 32nd in the league with 30.7 points allowed per game, 32nd in total yards allowed per game with 2,400 yards given up already, 61 rushing first downs allowed. That's 32nd. 32nd in third down conversion rate with 53.2 on third down. 71.8 completion percentage allowed. That's 29th in the NFL, and 6.2 yards per play. That is 30th in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys. They stink. They stink. They stink. And for me, as a Bears fan, watching Matt Eberflus all these years, I'm not going to lie. I thought his defense was going to be better than this. But he does have tendencies that make us call out Matt Eberflus and be like, yep, I'm familiar with that. Oh, you did this in a crucial moment? Yep, I'm familiar with that. That's because Matt Eberflus has his tendencies and he has not grown from them and he's not adjusting to the players that he have. Now, when you talk about Jerry Jones, he said this in defense of Matt Eberflus. I jumped at it when I saw a chance we had to get him, and I feel the same today as the day we brought him in here. We'll tell him to fix it. Simply because on a 4th and 4 and a gotta have it moment in your last game versus the Carolina Panthers, what happened with Matt Eberflus? The typical same thing with Matt Eberflus on crucial downs and in crucial moments. Matt Eberflus dials up a soft-ass coverage play on a 4th and 4 that could have got you the ball back to potentially win the game versus the Carolina Panthers last week. This ain't nothing new for Bears fans. We've seen this from Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus is the same head coach that told the entire world after the Chicago Bears gave up that Hail Mary play last year that the 13 yards that he gave Jaden Daniels prior to the Hail Mary throw, it didn't matter. He said it didn't matter. So, I know Matt Eberflus can be better, but I also know that he has his tendencies to let you down. That's just the nature of Matt Eberflus. That is exactly who he is. If you go out there and depend on Matt Eberflus in close games, he will let you down. And that's what is happening in Dallas. I know Dallas Cowboys fans personally, and I know they are not happy with how shitty his defense has been. Again, 32nd, 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 29th, and 30 in major categories on the defensive side. It's ridiculous. You can at least be better than this. Give Dak Prescott and that offense a chance. Generate a couple stops because you know that the offense of the Dallas Cowboys is a good one. It can very well be a high-powered offense on any given Sunday. But when they stall out on offense because the opposing team is playing good defense and you want the ball back in Dak Prescott's hands and Matt Eberflus refuses to play some type of aggressive defense based on the personnel that you have, he can't get it done. So good luck to y'all, man. Good luck to y'all in Dallas because y'all stuck with Matt Eberflus unless Jerry Jones said to hell with it, he's fired. But for the meantime, in between time, you are stuck with Matt Eberflus, the guy who can call a good defense, but when you gotta have it, and you gotta have it, Matt Eberflus will let you down, Dallas. Don't get your hopes up for him. I'm telling you. And I'm telling you. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. Before you get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you always love football, and y'all already know we're going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
This has been a presentation